Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Meant to Vent News. My name is Jaime, and goodness gracious, I'm excited for this because this is a new season. This is a new season of episodes. They're going to be exactly the same as the other episodes, but it's some new seasons of episodes. And with that said, man, there's been so much happening, and I don't know when it's going to stop. I don't want it to stop because it's kind of entertainment. I haven't watched like regular TV in a while. I've just been watching clip after clip of crazy politicians, using us as pawns, at their own power struggles and power moves. It's kind of crazy that, all because they don't like our president, they got to shut the government down. I mean, I'm sure there was some things in there they wanted, but in my feeling, I feel like all they wanted was some programs to go into effect that they can shave money off of. This is why they're all pissed, because a lot of these things that they took money from, they're not allowed to do anymore. And I'm sorry, but what can you do? You just can't take money from there anymore. So they're sitting here trying to use us as pawns and trying to make this power move to let these programs go through that they were like, so freely shaving money and giving everybody their bonuses all the time and, maybe getting about 6% to the actual program. And they weren't allowed to do that for a while. They haven't been allowed to do that for like almost like a whole year. So they're kind of pissed. And so that's why this government's been, you notice that it just shut down conveniently after the election and stuff that just happened. They're like, oh, we got some people in our seats that we wanted. Okay, so now we're going to get ready and sit down and talk. And now we're going to let everybody get to open it up and stuff. It's kind of crazy. And then, they're going to try to convince you, 3 years down the line to vote for these people that just, if they don't like what's going on, they're just going to cut off your supply. That's kind of scary when you think about it when election time comes. Let's just remember that. Let's just notch that one down. Or what everybody keeps. Let's keep that receipt, right? And now Detroit's got a new mayor. There was a big election going on. It didn't seem like that big of an election. It seemed like everybody knew that Mary was going to win like already. Like they already knew. Like people were already putting in comments and stuff like the bribes are in. It's done. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, that's crazy. And it's, like what I think is wild is like, they say the salary of the mayor is like last year it was like $137,000 or something like that. And it's all based off state by state by their budgets and stuff like that. And that's how they determine to give them their salaries. But I find it wild, like how fast they just become millionaires, like really quick. Like you just became a millionaire, like really fast, and I just think it's wild because, you obviously it's because people get donated and people donate to support them and things like that. But it's kind of crazy when you read this article and it says that, she was funded possibly by some crooked individuals. They're saying that she was possibly funded by 3 felons and some kind of bribe payer guy and some other big CEO. And then and all of a sudden she's an instant millionaire, and then we'll see how many more millions she gets worth, towards the end of her terms, if those terms don't end, And I find it really interesting that they called it dark money groups were involved. So what they were calling these dark money groups, there was this group called 5+1 right here in Detroit, where they were secretly funneling untraceable money like behind the scenes. And people are like, where'd this group come from? Where'd you hear this name from? Well, let's ask the new mayor, because I guess it was created by her own father. That's what they say on this article here that it came up. And that's pretty kind of wild, like that. And then there was this crazy story that Comerica Park and Jeezy, whoever the label was with Jeezy, was involved. And there was going to be supposed to be a free concert. It was supposed to be this free concert here. And so Comerica Park had all the tickets for free and gave them to Detroit for everybody to go to this concert for free. But I guess Detroit was like, no, we're just going to resell these. And they sold free tickets to us. And people bought the shit out them tickets. Wow. That's like going to church and paying for prayers. Oh, that's what happens right now, isn't it? That's wild. But I really hope that things don't happen the way the same cycle always does happen. But it kind of has a feeling like it's going to go that way, unfortunately. To me, it's like, what it looks like. I always say, same privileges and new faces. That's the kind of thing that I always hear all the time. I'm not the one who said it, but I've heard it many times, and it kind of fits in right now. If this stuff continues to go on with all this corruption in our own city, even our own governor, she got, accused of all this fraudulent, activities and things like that, and saying that, there was 4,300 fake jobs created, but all this money was still getting, funding these jobs that weren't filled. Where was that money going? Nobody knows. It's a lot of money, but it's gone. And that was like a bunch of billions there too. And then we just recently got a big old check for like 81 billion. And she was trying to create all these new programs so she could start siphoning money out of there. And everybody was like, nope, not that one. Nope, not that one. But they finally approved one as some kind of like housing program. So there's probably going to be like 6% going to the housing program and the other billions going to everybody's bonuses, to just keep all the money rolling again. And we'll see if we get our roads fixed on that. It's just wild. Like, I just like the exposure of all the corruption that's been happening so lately. And people still stand by the corruption. Like our current president, like that's not maybe a lot of people don't like and a lot of people do like, is doing like some crazy, amazing things right now in this first not even full year yet. There's still a couple months to go. And this first year has been, things knocking out the park. But the news channels won't say one thing about it, which is really strange. All they want to talk about is the shutdown that has nothing to do with this guy. It has something to do with the people that just don't like him. And it's really wild. The guy ended a bunch of wars, but nobody wants to talk about it. He's doing some good things out here and nobody wants to talk about it. Like making some peace deals, making some moves that's bringing money into our country. And everybody wants to talk about that stuff. The only thing I would say, like I said, I've talked about it on many episodes, is they dropped the ball on is these damn files. Are they going to save it for like election time? Like when election time comes, everybody's going to be bratting, saying you ain't shit. You did all this stuff. Sure, you brought our economy up to the top. Sure, you brought our gas and groceries down. But you still didn't bring out the files. You suck. That's what they're going to be saying. And then like when election time comes, it's going to be the new president coming. What if they drop the files then and like all these candidates to come out like, Bernie Sanders is still like, I know I'm 90, but I'm still going to try. Like all the crazy shit. And like crazy Gavin Newsom, like with his crazy ass interviews, man. Like that one last interview where he was like, practicing boxing. Every question he was like trying to do like the shoulder roll and shit. Like, what are you doing? He's trying to do like the fucking shoulder and roll the shoulder like Floyd every question. When he was talking about things, he was just like, yep, we're going to steal. It's just like, you ain't going to hear about me just bullshitting you. And he's all doing all this weird shit in the interview. It's kind of wild. But then all these people are doing these crazy things. And then you're supposed to forget about it when it comes to election time. You're just supposed to forget about it. The only people that really kind of believe it to me, which I probably might offend, but are like the seniors. They still trust the government right now. And like, that's kind of hurting. Like you saw the No Kings protest, the last one. It was like all kinds of seniors. They was all like, yeah. And like, they still trust the dude and still think they're getting like bonds for bullets and shit. So it's like, it's a new time. And like, I think times are changing. But I just think it's wild that they wouldn't even talk about anything positive, like no positivity. Like people talk about it for like 14 seconds probably, we got to go back to being angry at this dude. And I also think they're going to have a lot of trouble when election time comes, when all they're doing is nobody hears, you don't hear them talking about new policies or I got this new plan and I got this new idea when I win and this and that. They're just like, look, you just make sure you keep hating Trump and we're going to be fine come election time. Like, that's all they want to do. You just keep hating him and you just worry about that. Because when we get in, we'll just take away all that shit he did. Like we'll go back to war and we'll bring your prices back up and we'll bring your grass back up. And then you guys can say we're doing the right thing, right? Right. So you just wait and we'll erase it for you guys. You won't hear him say that. But there's no new talk of policies. And they're still trying to find their own Joe Rogan, which is hilarious to me. This is their mission. Their plan is to find a podcaster, not like policies for the people. Like when my man was like, we got messed up borders. So he went to go check, did it. We got messed up economy. He did all these tariff deals that are making money for the country. That's another thing that they're pissed about it, because when money was going over there for foreign aids or whatever those initials are that send money all over the seas and take it from us all the time, they were getting to shave all of that. It was like probably less than 10% of that money was actually going there, and everybody else was just lacing up them pockets. And now with this tariff stuff, everything's got like a price tag and a receipt and stuff like that. And these guys are pissed because the president took away a lot of opportunities for them to shave money. Like, do you hear about Hunter Biden's big business deals now? No, you don't, because he's not allowed to shave the money no more. They were like, look, man, we don't need you this week. Like, look, he's doing interviews and people are like listening to interviews from Hunter Biden now. That's how desperate they are. The dude who defended crack like a month ago or so, he was all like, crack ain't that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? And then they're like taking his advice on Trump. Like the dude who was like defending crack. That's wild. That's just, we are in some wild times for sure. And that's why I feel like that's what they meant by draining the swamp. Like all these people could just siphon all these things like scavengers of the fucking swamps, like the little salamanders and little creepy things that can't come out till nighttime. Saying like just crazy weird things like that just happening right now, and like I feel like that's what's being exposed right now, like by like the day, and they still on everything they say they're just like, oh yeah, we just hate your president and we'll be fine. Sure, I'm stealing all your money. Sure, I'm laundering a bunch of money, but you still can hate your president, right? It's like that's like everybody's go-to move. This is like, man. You know what else is crazy is like the new guy that just won the New York mayor job, and like everybody's like just all saying this guy's awesome. He seems like a nice guy, but then you start seeing pictures of him hanging out with like terrorists and like leading leaders of terrorist groups. Like that's not like the person I would have voted for if he's posing with like guys that are like like heading the fucking 9/11 attacks and shit like that. And you're just all posing with them like you guys just went and seen like your best player at a fucking football game and shit. Like you guys swapping jerseys and shit. It's weird. And I don't know, and it's just like weird times. And then there's like people out there saying like, oh, now we're turning New York to Sharia law or however you say the words. I don't know if you guys are gonna like that shit. They try to do that shit over here in Dearborn, and they're gonna piss some people off. They're gonna piss some people off. Well, my name is Jaime, and this has been another episode of Meant to Vent News. Till next time, humans. See ya.